Alright, Shalom. I'm your brother Uremia from the branch of GMS, South Carolina Millets. And before we start off, all praise, honor, and glory belongs to Yahweh Bahashum, Yahweh Shai, Bahashum, Rakaha Kudash. Secondly, double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops, a great millstone who teach and who rule well. And Shalom unto you hopeful elect, scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. To you I say Shalom. Alright, Adawan Ratazah, get up with the rest of the brothers of the GMS South Carolina Millers branch tomorrow. Alright, but nonetheless, just getting straight into it. Everything we're seeing happening in the planet Earth today, alright, is the conclusion of Esau Edom. Alright, the end of the Edomites, okay, or they would call themselves white people, so-called white people here today. We're witnessing the conclusion of Edom. Alright, and this is Yahweh Shemel Shai's will here in the earth, alright, to bring this devil queendom down with a very chaotic and dramatic fashion. Alright, we know ultimately his queendom is going to end in destruction. Okay, that's why we can see World War III brewing up. Alright, the latest news with Israel with its strikes on Iran nuclear facilities. Okay, they're trying to stop Iran from having nuclear capabilities. Alright, this is all leading up to the Third World War. Okay, you know, the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai put it on the spirit of these small hatters to send those strikes. Okay, along with everything else that's happening in the planet Earth, from the prophets being out here on the highways and the byways, this is all orchestrated by the Lord. Okay, if you hear that term that the world is a stage, it truly is. All right, this is the movie. This is the movie of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, let me get a precept to back that up. This is Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 24. Man's goings are of the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai. How can a man then understand his own way? So you see, the Lord controls everything. All right, every man, woman, and child you see here on the planet, the Lord ordains what they're going to do and what they're going to be. Okay, just like you know, we had it in our minds to be, I don't know, rich, famous, you know, to have some type of status or position here in this world. Yahweh Shemel Shai called us out of that, you know, pulled us away from what we wanted to be, all right, and brought us into our lot as being prophets. You know, just as in Jeremiah, is the book of Jeremiah, the first chapter. We're going to come back to that Proverbs 20 and 24 and read that one more time. This is Jeremiah 1 and 4. Then the word of the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, came unto me, saying, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. So before, you know, Jeremiah was in his mother's womb, all right, by the seed of his father, just like all of us, right? The Lord knew us, knew our spirits, okay, before he put us in a body, okay? You know, our parents, you know, they come together for the purpose of forming you a body here on the earth so that your spirit can dwell in it. And as we read on, it says, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee and ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. You see, the Lord called us to be his messengers. to come out here and say before, tell Israel, tell the world what the Lord is going to do before he does it. Okay? And just as the Lord ordained us to be prophets, all right, he ordained 2/3 of the house of Israel to be rebellious. Okay? He ordained Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, to be the wicked, the devil here in the earth. Okay? He ordained these heathen nations to be the extras, which I believe the elder apostle Tahar, I was watching the elder apostles live this past weekend, along with the elder bishop Sakaran was out there. The other heathen nations, okay, outside of Jacob and Esau, or Israel and the Edomites, they're just the extras in the Lord's movie. Okay? They're here, you know, of course, for the purpose of them being servitude unto us in the kingdom of heaven, which will be here on the earth. But right now they're joined into who? The devil, the wicked, Esau, Edom, in his current queendom, wicked queendom. And it all boils down, in the Lord's movie, it all boils down to two main characters, two main nationalities, two people. Okay? Jacob, which is our forefather. We come from the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Us being the descendants, we are the Israelites. You so-called black, so-called Hispanic, so-called Native Americans of today. And as I was saying, it all boils down to Jacob, name later changed to Israel, or the Israelites. And it boils down to Esau, Edom, or the Edomites, which is known as the so-called white man of today. Their biblical nationality goes back to Edom, all right? Which is very important to understand. Edom is our primary enemy, according to the scriptures. And Esau, we're at the end of his rulership. This is 2 Ezra 6 and verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So this is the end of the so-called white man's age. His period of time or age to rule here in the planet Earth. Okay? And Jacob, being the Israelites, all right, starting with Yahushua and his hopeful elect, all right, is the beginning of it that followeth, the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom to come, a kingdom of righteousness that will be here on the planet Earth. Okay? And this is what we're seeing in the earth. All the different things that's going on. Civil war about to take place. World War III about to take place. Okay? Famines here in Babylon the Great about to take place. Different pestilences. These are the things that the prophets of Yahweh Shema Shah will be warning about concerning the end of their current captivity or kingdom that they're under. Excuse me, ma'am. I think you gotta go around.
I'm looking for the ATM. Do you know what that is? That GPS said it was an ATM around here. You don't know?
Oh, take a right and then take the very next right. It should be ATM right there.
All right, thank you.
No problem. So like I was saying, what the prophets of Yahweh Shema Shah will be warning about, they will be going into, well, let's read it. Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. Okay? So this is why we come in and week out day in and day out, prophesying the end of Esau Edom's rulership, this current rulership. Okay? You know, and it's going to be very chaotic. Yes, World War III will take place. Nuclear destruction is coming to Babylon the Great. It is coming to those small hatters over in the land of Israel. Okay? All these different heathen nations will get involved in this third world war. Okay? And this is all what? The conclusion of Esau Edom. Okay? Let me grab this real quick. Because I was going into the two main characters, Jacob, the Israelites, and Esau, the Edomites. Alright? So-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans go back to Jacob, Israel. So-called white man, so-called Caucasians, okay, cave dwellers, they go back to Esau, Edom. Now let me grab this. This is an excerpt from the Zondervan Compact Dictionary concerning the definition of Esau or Edom or the Edomites. All right, it says Edom or Edomites, which Edom means red. Okay, so he's not the so-called white man. He's the red man. Okay, I was watching the Elder Mawatazak, his video that he made today, which I believe his channel is Mawatazak Von Gad 2, if I'm not mistaken. Subscribe to his channel, be edified. Esau, when you get into the scriptures, Esau was called red because what? He like his meat red, and we see that today. When Esau gets steak, all right, when Esau cooks his food, he loves to have his food with blood in it. Which according to our law, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to cook the meat all the way through. Okay? But nonetheless, he likes his food red, and Esau lacks pigmentation. He lacks melanin. Okay? So he's the red man. So it says Edom or Edomites. It says the nation as its people who were the descendants of Esau. He founded the country, so his name is equated with Edom. The country was also called Seir or Mount Seir, being the mountainous regions that this devil came from. Hence the reason why you see this devil has made the whole world, which according to Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Esau is the wicked according to Malachi 1:4. He is the border of wickedness. This devil comes from the caves. Hence why he laid down all this concrete everywhere. All right, he got these buildings, these skyscrapers, all right, erected all around Babylon the Great. Okay, because he is the Edomites. Okay, all this damn concrete suffocating the earth makes them feel right at home. Okay, let me scoot up a little bit, just in case it do rain. And if it gets too bad, we'll just wrap it up. The Lord will make a video later on. But nonetheless, this devil got all this damn concrete suffocating the earth because it makes him feel right at home. Okay? And it says the country was also called Seir or Mount Seir, which was which was the name of the territory in which the Edomites lived. Okay, and when you go over to Petra, all right, or you look it up on the Google, all right, look up Mount Seir, look up Petra, and you can see there's a state building right there. You can see that the architecture, it mimics the ancient Edomites, how they build. So these are the people, man. It's too much evidence all right, that shows that the so-called white man is the Edomites of the Bible. All right, it says, jumping down, remember this is from the Zondervan Compact, a Bible dictionary, definition of Edom. It says, Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. So like I said, what we are witnessing in the earth today is the conclusion or the end of Edom. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. It says she is the only neighbor of the Israelites who was not given any promise of mercy from the Most High, Yahweh Shema Shai. So no mercy is coming to Esau, Edom. Okay? How can we prove that in the scriptures? Let's jump to the book of Hebrews. This is Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person, which to be profane means to be outside the temple. Okay? Which is the reason why you see these devils doing all these different vile, filthy acts in the earth. Okay? When you think of bestiality, you think of the Edomites. Okay? Or they're, to say it plainly, that's a white person. That's a white person thing. Alright? Because they are the fornicator and the profane person here in the earth. Okay? They don't go by the laws of Yahweh Shema Shai. In fact, them being in rulership, none of the laws of Yahweh Shema Shai is enforced here. Okay? But it says, lest there be any fornicator, Hebrews 12 and 16, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, the so-called white man, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Going back into the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter. Okay? He sold his birthright, all right, for uncooked food. Okay? Hence, him being named Edom. All right? That's the history. And then, you know, like I said, this is the Lord's movie. When you read it, our foremother Rebecca dressed up our forefather Jacob as Esau when our forefather Isaac was on his deathbed, about to distribute the blessings unto his sons. Okay, Jacob and Esau. All right, and this is how the Lord set it up through the Spirit. Dressed up our forefather Jacob, all right, as Esau, to go in there and get the blessing, man. All right, because according to the law, Esau is supposed to get the blessing of what's coming unto us, the kingdom, being the firstborn. All right, but remember, Esau sold his birthright. So the Lord set it up through the Spirit that our foremother Rebecca knew that the blessing was supposed to go to Jacob. Okay, dressed him up as Esau, sent him in there, and Isaac blessed who? Jacob, man. Okay, and that's why we got the kingdom of heaven, dominion in the planet Earth, rule over these heathen nations perpetually, immortality to come unto us. Okay, and Esau, that's why he hate us, man. It said he hate us because of the blessing. Hold up. This is Genesis chapter 27 and 41. Going into everything I just summarized, that history. Genesis 27:41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, in his mind, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Remember, our forefather Isaac was on his deathbed. Okay, so Esau had his hatred in his heart from then until now, and that's why he shed the blood of the children of Israel, you so-called black, so-called Spanish, so-called Native Americans of today. You see Trump with that hatred towards the northern kingdom, and he coming for your southern kingdom as well. All of us. It's called Jacob's trouble. Okay? But I was getting to that point that Esau sold his birthright back in Hebrews 12 and 17. And remember, Esau, he did get a blessing. He did get a blessing. All right? His dwelling will be the fatness of the earth, all the best parts of the earth. He's in control. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Job 9 and 24. But it's only temporal, man. And by his sword would Esau Edom live. That's how he got control of the earth. Through war, through bloodshed. And look at how Yahweh Shemel Shah about to take Esau Edom out of power. Through war, through bloodshed, man. Destruction. Okay? This is Hebrews 12. And what's so cold about it, if you can't receive it, all right, Isaac was Yahweh Shai in the reincarnation before the Lord came as Yahweh Shai in the flesh. Okay? The Lord came in different reincarnations, all right, as Adam. Okay? Oh, can't forget about Melchizedek, all right, which I believe that translates to Malak Tazadok, the king of righteousness. All right, he came as Isaac. Okay, King Solomon. Okay, the Lord always made different cameos within his movie. Okay, but nonetheless, the Lord blessed Esau with the sword. And what did Yahweh Shai say unto I believe it was Peter? Okay, trying to stop Yahweh Shai from getting captured so that he could be crucified. Yahweh Shai told Peter, because he cut off one of the ears of the bands that came to take Yahweh Shai. St. Matthew 26. And 50. And Yahweh Shai said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Yahweh Shai and took him. This is when Judas betrayed Yahweh Shai to fulfill prophecy. And it says, verse 51, And behold, one of them which were with Yahweh Shai stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear, which I believe that was Peter as we get into this account. Okay? And it says, verse 52, Then said Yahweh Shai unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. And the point I'm getting into, all that take up the sword is going to perish with the sword. And what is Esau Edom's blessing? How has he got control of the earth? And how is he living in the earth? By the sword. This is all the will of Yahweh Shemel Shai. He set it up from the beginning for Esau Edom to be taken down, to be destroyed. By mind you, the sword that the Lord put on his spirit to create, the thermonuclear missiles to take out his very own queendom, man. Okay? Isaiah chapter 54. Isaiah 54 and 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, which a modern day smiths are these scientists, and that bringeth forth the instrument for his work, and have created the waster to destroy. And what is that? The thermonuclear missiles. So I was making that point that Isaac blessed Esau with the sword, or in other words, the Lord blessed Esau with the sword. And as we read in St. Matthew, the 26th chapter, all they that take up the sword is going to perish with the sword. So he set it up from the beginning that Esau was going to be taken out by his very own blessing, by his very own hands. Okay? And by these heathen nations that will shoot off the thermonuclear missiles, ICBM thermonuclear missiles over here to Babylon the Great. Okay? And with this sword, what did Esau Edom do? Not only did he take control of the planet Earth, he put that sword, his blessing, to his brother Jacob. Okay? Let's get the book of Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel chapter 35. This is Ezekiel 35. Whew. Ezekiel 35 in verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Lord, Yahweh Shai, came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it. Okay, so who are we prophesying against? Babylon the Great, America. We're prophesying against Esau Edom, the so-called white man, which we got the definition of Edom here in the Zondervan Compact Dictionary. Mount Seir, or Edom, is where the Edomites dwell. Okay? What is the synonymous with Mount Seir? All right, or Basra here today? America. Babylon the Great. It says, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord God, Yahweh Shai, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. And that's why we get scriptures. We get scriptures like Psalms 137, and many other precepts. Psalms chapter 137 and verse 7. Remember, O Lord, Yahweh Shai, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, which means destroy it, destroy it. So this is bringing into account or remembrance of Esau Edom, the devil, against the Lord's people. You so-called black, so-called Spanish, so-called Native Americans of today. And it says, raise it, destroy it, destroy it. That's on the minds of Esau, as we about to get into in Ezekiel the 35th chapter. Okay? To destroy us, to shed our blood. It says, even to the foundation thereof. And this is going back to the Babylonian captivity. Esau had a hand, all right, in us, being oppressed, going into captivity, man. During the time of the Babylonian captivity. Okay? And it says, O daughter of Babylon. The daughter of Babylon is who? America, Babylon the Great. Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. And how has the devil rewarded us or served us? By putting his sword, his blessing to us. Shedding our blood. Putting us in captivity. Hardcore bondage. Oppressing us. Okay? This devil about to get all that and more. Double. Okay? So as we was reading in Ezekiel, the 35th chapter, Ezekiel 35 and verse 3, it says, say unto it, thus saith the Lord God, Yahweh Shai, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. The Lord is about to destroy this place, man. This is one thing we know, and this is one thing that we believe. Okay? Because as we read in 2nd Esdras 6 and 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. It says, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate. Thou shalt know that I am the Lord, Yahweh Shai. Hey, I'm standing in the metro right now. I'm standing in the city. Okay? Along with other brothers prophesying against Mount Seir. Prophesying against this place. Alright? Babylon the Great, America. Prophesying against this devil, man. Telling them that this place is going to be destroyed. That he's about to go headlong into captivity. Verse 5, the point. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. Alright? An everlasting hatred, man. As we read, going back to Genesis, the beginning, where Esau hating Jacob because of the blessing that we got blessed with. And has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. So he put his blessing and swore to us, man. All right. So I believe it's about to start coming down. I'm about to conclude it. It says, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, Yahweh Shemel Shai, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So the Lord is preparing this devil for the slaughter. World War III, destruction, to take him out of power and to put his people, Israel, back in power. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. As you can see, it's thunder. All right, it's about to rain. But Lord will, I continue this lesson, all right, in a future video. Lord will. Lord was edifying to the elect. With that, I say shalom, shalom to the whole.